we have had a very old relationship with Mallcom as far as OSH India Expo is concerned. So we've been running this show, which will be into the 14th edition this year. And Mallcom is also a veteran in this industry. So we would like to know from Mallcom, what are your key priorities in this domain going forward in the near future?
Right. So, first of all, thank you, Adeesh. I think, yes, yeah, I agree. We had a long association and we would like to continue having so. For Mallcom, key priorities this year are firstly, emphasizing on the product diversification. In the last couple of years, we have, entered into a lot of different product categories, and that's what we would like to bring and showcase to the audience. Products like, different range of helmets, uh, gumboots, PVC gumboots, rainwear, FR garments, PU and nitrile gloves. So, that is something that we would like to highlight. And more than that, we would like to highlight the fact that we are making most or all of it in India. So it's really pushing the Make in India for India initiative. One of the first companies to set up a, PU dipping plant in the, domestic tariff area for the domestic market. So that's what we want to highlight. We've made, more than 200 crores worth of investment in the last 5 years. And that's what we would like to show. That's what we are doing for the Indian audience and for the industry. And these are the things that we would like to highlight. And these are our priority. And this is what we would like to highlight this year.
Wonderful, Rohit. Good to hear that. And, also that special emphasis on the Make in India initiative. Indeed, given the geopolitical circumstances and the way the industry is moving forward, the government's emphasis on having more and more indigenous technologies and products, they all bode well for India's progress in the near future. Okay, so moving on, for Mallcom, the new OSH codes that have been introduced recently, rather implemented by the government of India. How do you perceive them, and what change do you believe they would bring to the OSH industry in India?
It's firstly a very welcome bill by the government, and it is something which was long due. India did not have a standardized labor code, so it just goes to say that the country is now bringing a lot of dignity to all kinds of labor. They have included a lot of labor which were not considered so-called labors, for example the gig workers, which has become a big economy right now. So I think the intention is clear that they want to get everybody under the same umbrella, and they want to provide everybody with the respect and dignity that they deserve. So that is important. And most importantly, they've given a lot of weightage on occupational safety and health. They are and obviously the wages and the remunerations they're going to get. But in this case, I think going ahead, first thing that is going to happen is a lot of standardization. We've seen how the government and the BIS have played a part in even bringing shoe sizing, for the first time in the casual footwear. Now India has its own shoe sizing. Earlier we were just following the UK shoe sizing, but now India has its own shoe sizing. And I hope in the future they will also have something for workwear, for hand gloves as well, because that is something also which should happen. Because it is not necessary that the people working here are of the same stature and same size as the Europeans or the British people. So like the Japanese have done it really well. So I think that is something that is about to happen, and with that comes certification. So more emphasis on quality products, more emphasis on certified products, especially in our product category and product line, where it is very important and where sometimes it's a matter of life and death. So this is something that we are also looking forward to, and this is something eventually people will start taking cognizance. And in general, it will add a lot of people in the worker category who you need to take care of, right? So earlier all your delivery boys and things like that. They were never considered as workers, right? But now you have to, make laws for them. You have to ensure that they are getting their benefits. So India, as we all know, India has probably the largest and the youngest workforce, and finally they're getting their recognition. So this is very welcome, and we are expecting it, at least for the OSH industry, to have a big boom because of this.
Thanks, Rohit. Again, good to hear these small steps that add up to make a big difference. And definitely the intention behind the new OSH codes is to take care of the needs of the new industries, the new startups, the new kind of workforce that you rightly mentioned is taking shape. And how do we perceive their security? How do we, kind of augment our offerings to enhance their occupational safety and health standards? And I'm sure, companies like Mallcom would have taken full cognizance of the changes that are envisaged through these OSH codes. And my next question is again related to these, the further as a further follow up to the new OSH codes. Like, what new initiatives would you now, take to further augment your offerings so that the kind of workforce that you mentioned, the kind of requirements that have been necessitated by these OSH codes, they are taken care of?
Right. So, like we discussed, the kind of workforce, being added is different, is new, is young, and is hungry also. So, we need to ensure that our products and our offering, meet the expectation. Gone are the days where, people would just wear something which is the cheapest, even if provided by the company. Now, they are willing to, firstly, they've realized the worth of their lives. And not just them, even the companies, the government has realized that labor is no more cheap. Labor, is expensive, and the value of their life has increased in the last 10, 15 years. So you cannot just go by, L1 tendering practices anymore. You have to ensure that, they are satisfied. And for their satisfaction, you need to take care that your products are comfortable, that your products are, lightweight in a lot of cases, that your products have, the stylization required, because we have to be careful of the fact that most of these workers now have access to internet and are on some sort of social media. So they are accessing, sitting in India, what a worker in Europe and US is wearing, and they want to, the ambition is to reach to that level. And if, they are doing the same kind of job, why can't they get the same kind of protection? So we have to ensure that, these things are being, followed. For example, in our case, we've come out with, very sporty looking knitted upper, lightweight safety shoe, which can be used in, logistic warehouse industries, or, with something with a cleaner, neater shop floor. And mind you, their wages are also increasing. So these are people who now can afford. We have our e-commerce vertical, and we see a lot of small shop owners and, let's say, maintenance managers and stuff like that. They're buying PPs themselves. They say, okay, if I can afford it, I would like to buy something which is more comfortable, because I'm wearing it, throughout the day. So, it's something I'm wearing for 8 to 12 hours. Same thing with respect to, let's say, our rainwear. Usually you get rainwear with, if you're, out on the street and you're wearing it, even though the rain is protecting you, from the outside, but from the inside you're sweating. And imagine, a security worker or a contract, or a, construction worker wearing it for 8, 10 hours. They are sweating profusely, in those hours. And, whereas we have come out with a solution where it's a PU coated rainwear, which is highly breathable. So you're getting protection from the rain and you're not sweating at the same time. So these are the kind of offerings we are coming out with to ensure that, these workers are getting, the new age workers especially, are getting the kind of safety that they need, along with the, comfort, stylization, and something which is even, more sustainable for the environment.
So to wrap up, I would finally like to ask you, last 14 years, we have been tracking the growth of the HSC industry. And one question that, keep coming at all the OSH India expos and during the conference is that, when are our standards, our HSE standards going to come up to speed with what we see in the West, the European and the US standards. So, keeping that perspective in mind and given all that we have discussed, what are finally, I would like to have a final take from you. What are your views now on the future of OSH? How do you feel it's going to progress going forward in the Indian industry, and what, it's how is it going to overall impact our workforce?
See, for players like us, it is a blessing that the work that OSH, the government, BIS is doing, and we want them to take more of such steps where we get our own standardization, our own certification. Uh, Firstly, it will weed out all the unorganized players who are producing and supplying substandard products, or even those who are importing substandard products and just selling it cheap. Uh, so, like I said, the the workers themselves are getting more aware. Now they can differentiate between a cheap product, low quality versus a high quality, and they are seeing, okay, they deserve better quality. Second, you have MNCs coming up and setting up shops in India, and they will not follow, this ideology. They will like to, have global standards being followed, and that will push us and Indian-based MNCs also, like Vedantas and Reliance and L&Ts of the world. So they all are also now, upgrading. Other than that, now that there's a big, we know what is the dollar rate right now. We know our dependency on crude and how much impact it is causing us on a day-to-day, basis. So we need more manufacturers coming up, setting up shops in India, and beating these cheap imports. And that is what the government is also pushing for. So going ahead, and with BIS getting more teeth, with BIS conducting field studies, and taking samples and testing it from on ground. I think these are all great steps. Very soon, and we've seen after COVID how rapidly this industry has changed. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of changes coming in the next 5 years. We've seen now, BIS launch their standards for a lot of products which are not there even 5, 6 years, 7 years ago, like gloves and garments and things like that. So I think all the steps are in the right direction. We will catch up to the West very soon, and I think it's just a matter of time. And I think it's a collective responsibility of manufacturers, brand owners, the government, people like you and your organization. I think if we all play our part well, we should see this very soon.
All right. Thank you, Rohit. I mean, a lot of encouraging words coming, through the end, and of course, during the entire course of the interview. And really good to know all these new initiatives that have been happening. And, we really look forward to, listening to more such positive vibes during our expo and the conference, year on year. So thank you, Rohit, so much. Thank you for your time. I, deeply appreciate the kind of knowledge that you brought to this engaging conversation, and I'm sure there would be a lot of takeaways from the audience, from the HSC fraternity that is on our platform, and that would be having access to this interaction. So thank you, Rohit, so much.
Thank you, Adeesh.